As I walk the course with Daryl Jacob, we're going to reflect on past nationals, we're going to talk about this year's national, and the sense I want to get from you first, Daryl, as someone who's won it, is the feeling on National Day for jockeys. Is this, well, I know this is a race that every jockey wants on their CV, because once you've got it, you can't take it away from a jockey, right?
Exactly, it's in the history books, isn't it? It's there in black and white. But I mean, look, I love this meeting. I've always loved this meeting ever since I came over from Ireland and my first experience up here. It's been nothing but great memories. And like you say, we're walking down the track here now. The track's in absolutely beautiful condition. I was here on Monday morning doing stuff with some local communities in the school, and I came out here and I looked at the track. Just look at the place. I mean, it's just buzzing. The community, the Liverpool people. It's a very, very special place, and to come back here, it's great. I don't have to ride anymore because I lost my bottle about 10 years ago. So,
well, let's talk about the track then, because it's a unique test, and the national has changed over the years, but it is still a very different race than other races that jockeys will ride in week to week. As we stand on the finishing post, what unique things does this track have when you ride round in it?
it is a very unique track. I mean, a lot of people say it's a flat track, but if you will even look down the home straight, there is an uphill climb to it. It does take it takes a good bit of stamina as well here, because it's a long home straight. So you need a horse that's obviously travels very well and that's got a bit of a turn of foot, because what they will do is they'll turn into home straight. They will quicken from the third last to the second last, but then from the last is a furlong and a half away. It's a long climb to the winning post, and like over the Grand National, it's just a unique test, isn't it, for horse and jockey. Different, obviously, nowadays to what it was back in the day when Neptune Collonge won it. He was the last horse to win over the original fences. He was the last horse to win over them. So the race has changed an awful lot in the last 12, 13 years. But you know, for the health and safety of horse and jockeys, it's the right thing to do. But it's a different race nowadays.
If I'm trying to give something for people that are watching on the telly at home, or they come to entry and they're also watching the horses go around on the big screens, are there any sort of checkpoints that you could point out, maybe that as a jockey you're happy to get to, or you want to be travelling well at, or you know, the famous fences? Are there certain points that viewers could go, that's where they are now?
It's very different from a viewer's point of view if people haven't watched it before, because from a jockey's body language and from a horse's language that you can feel under him, it's very different when they're actually riding in the races and we're riding horses. First of all, the most important thing is when you're riding over these fences is to make sure your horse enjoys it and he grows into the race with confidence, and you can't go too quick for him because you're going to take him out of his comfort zone, and that means he's going to end up getting in tight to some of the fences and not quite enjoying it, and therefore his confidence he'll get lower in confidence. So the most important thing, and I've always, whenever I went out there to ride, I never thought about the race for the first mile and a half. Okay. At least I just wanted my horse to find that rhythm, get him into a nice stride, make him feel confident, build his confidence up as much as I can, because it's a huge test, and what you need horses growing into the race rather than vice versa. So that was always my key. First thing was find that rhythm and get the horses to grow into the race.
So when we'll keep walking, we'll get into a rhythm down the home straight. When people are watching the National, you want to be spotting a horse that is in a good rhythm, is relaxed and is enjoying themselves out here. I'm going to rewind a step. We've spoken about the track, we've spoken about the race. What about the morning of, the feeling in the weighing room? How would you describe that? Can you still remember how it felt when you sat in the weighing room pre-National?
I only retired 3 months ago, man. Give me a break, will you? Look, it's great. There's no Grand National Day, but even the whole week leading up to the Grand National is very, very different. Like Cheltenham, it's a big pressure pot. There's a lot of pressure going into Cheltenham. These horses have been geared towards Cheltenham from June, July since they've come in. That's their Gold Cup. That's our Olympics. Cheltenham and Aintree are very, very different. Aintree comes after Cheltenham. So the horses that are coming from Cheltenham come to here. It's a very, very short turnaround when they're at their absolute peak for the festival, and to come here, maybe a lot of horses have underperformed a little bit, because like you say, to bring them down from Cheltenham and then to bring them back up for Aintree, it's a very, very difficult thing to do, and it's a huge skill and a huge art within itself from a trainer's point of view. But from a jockey's point of view, like that weighing room in there is just so special. Like the 3 days we like, obviously we all stay up here together because it's a lot further away from home, so we stay up. And back in the day we used to have some good nights out in Liverpool, so we did. But obviously not as much now because, and it's right, they have a lot of breathalyzers, drug testers on the scene every day, so it's very difficult now. And the racing's obviously getting a lot better. Year by year, the racing here at Aintree is getting better and it's getting stronger. And it's like last year I thought was brilliant racing here last year. This year I think is the very same. It's really exciting and it's great for Aintree. And
what were you like though? Because you're quite a joker. You're quite, as David Maxwell just said, you're getting louder and louder.
Yeah.
But what were you like? You know, when you were sat in the weighing room pre-national.
I loved it. I love these big. I love riding.
Will you be chatting away to people?
Yeah, just have a chat and have a laugh and have a joke with all the lads. I used to sit like Cheltenham was quite depressing because I used to sit beside Nico de Bonville, and Nico de Bonville was just having winners after winners after winners, and I was just like I wasn't getting that many winners. So Cheltenham was very different, but I loved it. But Aintree, all the jockeys are an awful lot more relaxed out there. It's more of a party feel to it.
Yeah.
The racing is obviously to the highest quality, but it is after Cheltenham that the big pressure point is finished. But Aintree, that weighing room in there is class because everyone's in a relaxed mood, everyone's really excited, and like you say, it's the whole build up towards the Grand National, and it's the best race in the world, isn't it? And it's, you know, for a jockey to have are lucky enough to ride in the race, it's a huge honour, a huge privilege, and they're all absolutely buzzing out on there for the day, really.
Right, I think we've come to the right spot actually, because now we get to walk back down the home straight. If you spin around and we head back towards the finishing post, after you watch what me and Daryl are going to speak about, don't go off of this interview just yet, but once you've finished listening to us
They're probably bored of us already, aren't they?
Once you've finished listening to us two talk about Neptune Colonge's Grand National, go and watch the finish, because it could arguably be the most exciting finishes in a Grand National. Talk me through that day. Talk me through those final 100 yards, Daryl.
It was unbelievable. I just remember here, so we come by the elbow, which is down there by the furlong polar mark, and from the half a furlong point here, Seabass was on my inside, Richie McLaren was obviously in front of me, but I just remember from the half furlong pole to the line, I was gaining, so I was hoping that the winning post wasn't going to come too soon. Obviously Richie was probably hoping it was going to come sooner, but just every stride I was just gaining that little bit. And like you say, I've got a big nose. I'm glad Neptune Colonge had a big nose, because I needed his nose right down on the line, and to win by a nose, it's the shortest winning distance ever in the Grand National. He was the last grey horse to win at Neptune Colonge was, and it was just a magical day. I mean the photo finish seemed to take hours and hours for it to come. It was probably only about 40 seconds, but it was a monstrous time, and we pulled up just up here, and me and Richie were looking at each other, and none of us had a clue, because we only actually stopped pushing our horses literally 7 or 8 yards past the winning line, because it was so close.
I've got goosebumps as you talk about it. How does it make you feel?
Look, I'm very proud. It's a race that I wanted to be involved in whenever I first came into horse racing. It was the race that I wanted to be involved in, and it's the goal that I wanted to achieve. And you know, for me personally, to achieve that was one of the biggest goals I want to achieve, and to achieve it, I'm very, very proud. And I look back at my career, and I'm hugely proud of it. And I've worked for some wonderful people, but the Grand National is the race, isn't it?
We can
say that with a smile, can't we?
We certainly can. It is the race, and as I said at the start, it's on your CV. Everyone that wins this puts that on their CV. As a result of Neptune Colonge being such a brave horse, sticking his nose out, like you said, what does he mean to you as a horse?
Sure, look, he's a wonderful horse, but I'm actually nearly more proud of what he's achieved after his afterlife, as in when he retired. He retired straight away after the race, and he's down there with Alder Hay Children's Hospital every year. He sees a lot of sick children, and he gives them light at the end of the tunnel, where, you know, if they're confined to their beds, they come out and they see him, and just the way he looks at them, he licks them, he puts his nose into him, he breathes on him. I remember a few years ago, it was the year after I came back, after winning the National, he was down at the Alder Hay Children's Hospital, and it's really touches me, and even now I think about it. I remember before I went into a ward, and I seen a lovely family in there. There was 4 parents and this poor child, and she was obviously very ill, and just chatting away to her, and I didn't feel like as if there was much hope for her. She wasn't giving me much signals that there was much hope for her. And I remember we wheelchaired her. They brought her in a wheelchair and brought her down to see Neptune Collonge, and she seen him. And I promise you, Neptune Collonge, there was about 4 or 5 kids that were around him, like, patting him and stuff like that. Whenever he seen her, he just literally took himself, pulled the groom over to her, and he literally put his head on her chest, and he just went like that, and he rubbed her up and down, and he breathed right into her face, and sort of kind of not licked him, but kind of just like reassured her. And I just remember looking at her face and her eyes that day, and there was a real twinkle in her eye, and I didn't see that in the bedroom, and I seen it. It was just like as if just a twinkle, a star had been reborn in her, and she had that memory. She, unfortunately, she passed away. I think it was 7 months later, but she still said, and her family still say, up until that day, that was one of the highlights of her career. So for me personally, I love children. I love the younger generations. That moment will always stand out for me, what Neptune Collonge does. Wow. And he's in the Hall of Fame here at Aintree Racecourse. He's a wonderful horse, and he's been brilliantly handled by all the team at John Hales, and obviously the late John Hales. But that's really special, and that is, and I still, I get emotion thinking about that, because I'll never be able to describe it the way it felt to me, but it was so touching.
Amazing what they can do, isn't it?
And it was a day that it will live with me for the rest of my life. Just the way he kind of not ignored the rest of the children, but he just went straight. He obviously felt that she really needed him, and he just went over and he just put his head on her chest. Wow. It was just unbelievable, and real emotional scenes that was.
Special horse.
Yeah, and that's why I look at these. I only got to ride Neptune twice. Once in 3 days before, I had a little jump on him, and then in the race itself. But look at my relationship with Neptune Collonge goes back an awful long way. He was obviously in the yard with the times of Kate Star and Denman. And I used to always feel really sorry for Neptune Collonge, because he was a lovely looking horse and he was a great character to have around the yard. And he never really got the attention that he deserved because of Cato and because of Denman. And I used to always go over to him and go into his box and give him a pat and give him a cuddle and have my own little conversations with him. And it was just like as if he was repaying me for all them times that, when he
gone and kept him company.
Whenever he was looking over at the door and thinking, can I have a camera on me? But look, it was just such a shame for him that Cato and Denman were around at that time, and he probably never, he won multiple Grade 1s, and he was third in a Gold Cup. He was still a fantastic horse, wasn't he? But he
Grand
was
National winner.
Yeah, and the Grand National. But he was a special horse. I love Neptune Collonge.
2 more questions for you. Do you still give
Listen,
Richie?
Everyone will be bored of us by now.
That's right, we're going to turn this into a 5-part series. We've had that long together. Do you give Richie some stick every now and then or not?
No, to be fair, me and Richie are very, very good friends. Very good friends. And I remember, and literally my heart did sink. I had the joy, and he had, he had obviously of failing. But I remember looking over him, and honestly, my heart sank for him, because it was tough. And I don't know how I would have, if I was on his side of the shoes. I don't know how I would have handled it. But me and Richie are very, very good friends. And look, it can't be nice to finish second in such a tight Grand National. But look, we're very, very good friends, and. We've been together in each other's company plenty of times, but I don't like to bring it up because it's not nice.
A lot of respect, I like that. What a pleasure on day 1 of the Grand National fence. Thanks, mate.
All right.